Hi guys, and welcome to another Divi video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Well, we got another little Divi hover effect for you here today, and we've got this nice little image with the title at the top. When you hover over it, we got a scroll down call to action, and obviously click on the button. That'll take them to the sales page for this item there. Use it for whatever you want. That's a nice little effect, really easy to do. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is enable my visual builder. Okay, well, let's delete what we've got here. I've got a section with a row in it. I'm going to delete the row. We'll start again. So I'm going to add a new row. Use whatever you want. I'm going to use 2 columns in my row today. And the first thing I'm going to do is put a title in there. I'm going to use just a regular text module for that. All the light grey modules are the ones that come as standard with Divi. Purple ones are from Divi Supreme, which I'm not using today, but is an awesome add-on for Divi. So I want a text module. And whatever it is you want to say. Okay, let's give this a background color, make it stand out. Now let's go over to our text. Let's make the text the color we can see. As it's a deal, I'm going to make it red. Let's make it a lot bigger. Say about 24. And let's capitalize that. There we go, fantastic. And perhaps make it bold, or at least semi-bold. There we go, that'll work fine. And I want to pop it in the middle. Now we can adjust our line height if we want to spread that out, but I'm going to give it a fixed height also. So if you want to adjust the line height just up here, give it more space top and bottom, whatever you want to do there. I'm going to give mine a height of 50 pixels purely because I'm going to offset it in a minute when we put the image in our column. So to do that, let's shut the text up. We'll go down to sizing. And under height, I'm going to give it 50 pixels. Just put in the 50, it'll put in the pixels for you. And let's just adjust our line height so it's still in the middle there. There we go, that works perfectly, 2M. Okay, so we've got our first bit going. Now let's go into the column, because the actual image I'm going to use actually resides in the column that's in the row. We've got 1 column, 2 columns here. So we'll go into our row. I'm going to go into that first column where we are. I'm going to give it a background image. And you won't see it at first because the column, it's got no height at the moment. It's just got the height of our title up there. So I'm going to add a background image. I guess I'll use the same image as we used before, which was that one, I believe. Like I say, you can't see anything in there at the moment. I'm going to say fit rather than cover. Now I'm going to add a tiny bit of CSS code to give it a fixed height. So I'm going to go over to our advanced tab and I'll put this little bit of code down below, but it's very simple. Custom CSS. In the main element, I'm going to give it a height of say 650 pixels. There we go, and we can see our image now, which is great. And just adjust yours for whatever size image you've got, obviously. Okay, while we're over in the advanced, to make this work today, when I put the call to action in here, I'm going to have it disappear up the top and then come in from the top downwards. So when we make it disappear up the top, I don't want to see anything overflowing. So if we still on our advanced tab, we go to visibility. I'm going to turn horizontal and vertical overflow off so nothing spills out. I'm going to put that to hidden. Great. And also while we're in here, let's go to our design. I'll give it a tiny little border as it's a white image just to offset it. Just going to make it 1 pixel black. Fantastic. Brilliant. Okay, so let's save this column. And let's also, while we're in the row itself here, I'm gonna go to design and take the guttering away, and that's in sizing. Use custom gutter width. Put mine down to 0. That means there's no space left and right, top or bottom, so the next module I put in here will buffer straight up against the one that we've got there. Okay, so we've done that. Now let's add our next module. So I'm going to hit the little dark button to add another module. I'm going to use a call to action because I want a button to take them to the sales page for this particular item. So let's give it a title, whatever it is you want to put in your title here. Buy now, I guess. And again, obviously you put in whatever you want. We can't see the button yet because we've not put a link in. You've got to put a link in before that'll turn up. Content wise, let's add a price in here as well. Say $3.99 or whatever it is that's appropriate for whatever you're doing. It's probably a little too much. There we go. As you can see, it's there. I'm going to make mine bold. I'm going to make it a title H1, so it's pretty big, and I'm going to make it red in color. There we go, fantastic. Okay, so now we want to make this so that it actually covers the whole of our column there. So let's go over to our design and spacing, and I'll change the background in a moment, but let's cover this up at the moment. So let's give it some padding at the top. And I'm going to use, I think, about 150. That'll push it down to somewhere in the middle. It doesn't matter too much. But at the bottom, I want a lot of padding. I mean, a lot, more than 650. Because when it comes up here, I want enough left over that when they hover over it, when we can't see it, it still activates it and it comes down. So I'm going to say about 900. And you'll notice that the green, or this bluey green color, goes all the way to the bottom of here. But you won't see it spill out because we've got the overflow hidden. There we go, perfect. Alright, well let's go back in to our content, to our background again. And I'm going to take the background away when we're not hovering over it, and we'll get rid of the writing in a minute. But when we are hovering over it, I hit this little arrow here. It'll bring up a desktop state when your mouse is not on it, and a hover state when your mouse is on it. And we can add a background color, and I'm going to add black on the hover state, but I want to be able to see some of the watch through it, but I still want to be able to read all the writing very well. Something like that, around about 75%. Seems to work perfectly. Great. Okay, now we need to make it disappear when we're not actually hovering on it. So if we go back to desktop, I'm going to go back into the design. I'm going to go down to spacing, and we're going to use a bit of negative margin. Now we know this is 650 tall because that's what we gave the column. So again, I'm going to hover over and get up a hover state and a non-hover state. When we're not hovering over it, I don't want to see it at all. So let's give it minus 650 pix, minus 650, and it's disappeared. Fantastic. And then when we're hovering over it, I'm going to set that back to 0, because as you can see, we've got that hover color in there. If I hit it to 0, our writing should appear again. Great. Now the time that we actually want it to take to do this is entirely up to you. The default timing with Divi is 300 milliseconds, which to me is pretty quick. I like to slow it down for a bit of drama, but again, that's entirely up to you. So let's go to our advanced. It looks like I've got to go into my module and put a link in for the button because we've got no button there. I'll do that in a second. Go to advanced, and we'll slow the timing down a bit. To do that, go down to transitions. There's the default 300 milliseconds right there. I'm going to slide mine up nearer a second, 3/4 of a second, something like that. 950, 900, that'll do fine. And I like to use ease in and ease out as a transition speed curve. They're all subtly different. Some will work better in certain situations, but for the horror effects, that seems to work great for me. Okay, well, we want to go back into the little module here and just add the button. Now, as we're using sort of negative margin and things are overlapping over the top of each other, let's go to wireframe mode, because sometimes when I'm hovering over it now, I can't actually see that module because it's sort of up here somewhere, hidden. So let's go into wireframe, hit the little purple button. Here's the wireframe. Here's our little module right here. And if we go into the first bit, the content, we need to put a link in to make our button show up. Button link. I'll just put a hashtag. Obviously you'd link it to your product page or whatever it is your special of the day is. Great. Now the only other thing that I want to do here, let's just flip it back to desktop at the moment. When our contents come on down, I don't want them overlapping, because usually when a thing is below, when a module's below one on the top, it'll have a higher Z index, so it'll show through on the one on top. So to counter that today, I'm going to give our top module a higher index, Z index, than the bottom one. That way it'll be on top and anything that's coming down won't show through it. So again, let's flip to wireframe. This is our top one. I'm going to go over to advanced position. Here's the Z index. I'm going to pop that up. Doesn't really matter as long as it's higher than the bottom. So we got 23 on this one. Let's make sure the one below has a lower number. Advanced position 0. That's great. So this one is going to be on top, so our contents won't show through as they're coming down. Okay, if we've done everything right, this should now work. Let's flip back to our desktop, save draft or publish if you're ready, and exit the Visual Builder. There's our image. We'll hover over, and as you can see, down pops our call to action with our call to action button here that will take them to the sales page. Obviously you can style the button however you want. Mine's got the default styling I've got set up for this particular theme. When we let go, it's just going to gracefully go back up again, and you can do it right on the bottom because we gave it all that extra padding to make sure that was still going to work. So there you go, nice little hover effect there, really easy to do, only one tiny bit of code. I'll put that down below if anybody needs to use it. So I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once again, this has been Jamie with System22 and WebDesignTechTips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.